The SiteShed podcast is made possible because of Tradie Web Guys, creators of beautiful websites designed specifically for tradies and contractors. If you're tired of dealing with web designers that have no idea about your industry, then head across to tradiewebguys.com.au and reach out. Like many companies from all over the place, you'll be very glad you did. This is episode 100 of the SiteShed podcast. Woo!
Giving tradies and contractors around the globe the tools to run a modern business. You're listening to Toolbox Talks from the SiteShed. Now here's your host, Matt Jones.
Hello and welcome to episode 100 of the SiteShed podcast. I can't believe we actually made it. That is a serious achievement. We started this podcast all the way back in, what have we got here? February the 8th was the very first one. Actually, no, that's a lie. Oh, no, it was. It was February 8th. And now we are at episode 100, which is a phenomenal achievement within a year. Well, within a year, actually. So I thought we'd just make this podcast a little bit of fun. I'm not interviewing anyone today. I'm just going to talk a little bit about, I suppose, about the SiteShed, a bit about me, a bit of a snapshot where we're at, what you can look forward to in the new year. So I'm actually leaving tomorrow. I'm jumping on a plane. I'm flying over to Indonesia. I'm getting married over there. So sorry, ladies, you've missed the boat. There's 55 of us heading to Bali. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're over there for a couple of weeks. Bit of surfing with a wedding thrown in. That's the way I've sold it to my mates anyway. So that should be good. We've got a big contingent coming from all over the place. Obviously, a lot of Aussies heading over there. And then my soon-to-be wife is from Canada. And so there's a fair North American contingent coming also. And a few floaters from all over the place, the UK, etc. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. And with that in mind, actually, if next week you guys don't receive our site meeting, you'll know why. The internet can be a little bit hit and miss over there. So if you don't get it, don't hate me. It's just that I could not probably get it away. So, right, let's talk a little bit about a snapshot. So when you launch a podcast on iTunes, iTunes has a category called New and Noteworthy. And what that basically is, it's a way that iTunes obviously is owned by Apple, and it's a way that they give you a bit of a foot up when you've got a new podcast. If they like the content and it's getting good traction and it's getting good feedback, they basically promote it in this new and noteworthy category. And you normally have about 8 weeks from when you launch a podcast that Apple will keep you in that category if it's doing quite well. The SiteShed actually is still in the new and noteworthy category after 10 months of being live, which is pretty unheard of. It's a pretty big achievement, and I'm pretty proud of it, actually. So I suppose it's a testament to the caliber of people we've had on the show, and it's also a testament, I suppose, to the amount of downloads that we're getting and basically general feedback, reviews, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so we're pretty proud of that. I'm going to put some stuff out on social media pretty soon talking about that because I don't know of any other podcasts anywhere that have actually achieved that. So a big thank you to the listeners out there for giving us your feedback. A big thank you to, I suppose, the guests that have been on the show. Those guys have been amazing, and there's plenty more to come. So fear not. So I just thought I'd go through now some of the reviews that we've had over the last 10 months. We've clocked up, 17 in total. 15 of those have been on iTunes. 2 of them have been on Stitcher. 4 of them have come out of the US. 12 have come out of Australia, and 1 has come out of the United Kingdom. Thank you so much, guys, for these reviews. It actually helps the rankings on platforms like iTunes. So the reason that we're probably still in that new and noteworthy category is because it may be very largely to do with the feedback that you guys have been giving us on iTunes and Stitcher, etc. So thank you, and please keep them coming. It'll literally take you 2 seconds to leave one, and it makes a big difference. So I'm just going to start at the bottom here and run through people that have left reviews. Big shout outs to these guys. Thank you very much. So we've got Scott Gallatley. We've got You Can Win. We've got Nick OG. There's Jay Carberry. Miss Valerie Koo. Thank you, Valerie. Builder04. Build 2601. Scott H. Melb. There's Ferrari. That's actually Dave Ferrari. Steve Deep Sea from the UK. And then there's MW Plaster. Tony Richardson. Plumberto Niwara. Your old mate, Nick Trebek. And lastly, Devon Tilley. So thank you very much, folks, for that. That has been fantastic. much appreciated. Now, I just wanted to run through as well, give you a bit of a highlight, I suppose, of the episodes that we have run and we have published to date, and maybe give you a few little takeaways from some of those key episodes as well. Right back at the beginning, we had episode 2, we did a Q&A on telephones. So a lot of you guys are out there using different phone solutions for your business, and we had a fellow come on the show, and he was talking about the different types of phone systems that are available to different types of businesses. So that was a pretty cool podcast. Then we had a series with Dave Jennings from Melbourne SEO. That whole series there was really about the role of SEO in the ecosystem, the digital ecosystem. We talked about content creation, content syndication, and all sorts of cool stuff. Then we had the boys from Clinton from Tradie Pad come on. So Tradie Pad basically spoke about cloud solutions. So everything from job management right through to project management, like different apps and programs, and what types of business suit different types of cloud solutions. So that was awesome. We did there was a Q&A in there on where to post your content. Do you post it on your blog or do you post it on Facebook? Where's the best place to do that? We also then had a series with Scott from Bowler Empire. He came on and spoke about basically business related things, everything from system creation, database building, metrics. So, knowing your metrics, knowing your numbers. That was awesome. I did a quick episode there on how to simplify your website, which is kind of a common problem we see with a lot of guys. They just, everything's just too complicated. So we did an episode there on cutting that right back. We had the other Matt Jones from Cube Consulting come on the show, and he was talking about some business-related topics, largely business mindset, and then pricing for profit and brand planning. So that was a very successful series according to the downloads. You guys love that. We did a series on outsourcing, so how to build remote teams and how to develop processes and systems that can replace you. That was with Warwick and Michaela from the Tradies Business Show. That was a fantastic series. We had a whole bunch of From A to Bs, and the purpose of the From A to Bs is to communicate that where you begin is not always where you end up. And, there's just because you're going into a trade as an 18-year-old or whatever, doesn't mean you're going to be digging holes for the rest of your life. So we've had a lot of successful people come on the show, and they've talked about their journey from, where you start to basically where they are now. And that's really interesting. So, yeah, if you are out there listening to this and considering doing a trade, it's an awesome opportunity and it can open so many windows. So, yeah, don't be fooled. What else have we got here? Oh, we had an awesome series with Ben Stainer called Big Business, and Ben ran a huge plumbing, building, and electrical company in Sydney, which he has since sold. But that was an amazing series. Actually, that was one of our highest downloaded series as well. So Ben was talking about things like how to not overcapitalize and like running a lean business. He spoke about what it takes to run a $12 million business. He was talking about how to handle negative media, and that's something that Ben's experienced in the past. A very interesting story. And he also talked about how to take money off the table, but not only just how to take it off the table, what to do with it once you do take it off the table. So that's well worth going back and listening to that. That was episodes 29 through to 32. We did an episode and I recorded an episode back in April, episode 34, and we're talking about the importance of quality hosting. And this is something that, we see so often, like people go out there and they try and price shop, I suppose, the cheapest option for their hosting. And, it's a big problem. So we actually created a whole podcast on it with Braden, who works with us. So go back and check that out. We did there's a full series here on leadership. So with Peter Cox. Peter Cox is a global leadership consultant, and we did a series there on the importance of allowing yourself to be led, finding the right people to lead your organization, and then how to develop and grow leaders within your organization. So that was an awesome series. That was 36 through to 39. Then we kicked off our series on Google AdWords, and this was with John. That was an amazing series. So we spoke about what Google AdWords is, and then we talked about how to figure out your budget for Google AdWords, and then we talked about the role that Google AdWords plays, or search engine marketing plays, within that digital ecosystem that we often refer to. That was a fantastic series, and that actually is the most popular series that we've had yet. So go check that out. That was episode 41, 43, and 44. In between that one, 42, we had a episode there with Miss Ellen Raw, who is the plumber's wife. She's out of United States, and she's amazing. She's been on the show a bunch of times. Actually, she was on the show. She ran a series with us called Business Uncomplicated, and that was episode 47 through to 49. That was all about financials and getting a grip on financials within your business planning, and then, basically that decision day, when to know to step away from your business. So that was interesting. That was very awesome. We did a series on occupational health and safety. That was also very good. That was with Shane from Keep It Simple Safety. What is occupational health and safety? Capturing and recording documentation in a modern way, using cloud technology and stuff like that. Then the future of OH&S. I did an episode in there on personality profiling. That was episode 54. That was actually a crack up. Go back and check that out. And actually, there's a test in the show notes for that you can take yourself to figure out what personality you are. That actually changed my life. So I recommend going and check that one out. Definitely. Right, then we did Powering Your Business with Al Levy from the 7 Power Contractor. Al's been on the show a bunch of times, and he is just an amazing communicator. We talked about planning, operating, and staffing. That was 56 to 58. Then we also had, and then Al Levy came back on the show once again, and he talked about family businesses and how to build a successful family business. And he has experience with that himself, having run a family business, which was 4 generations deep. Talks about organizational charts, defining roles and positions, and then how to steer the boat in the right direction. Adrian Fedini from Train to Sell came on the show, and he talks about selling with confidence, knowing your hourly rate, finding the right customers, selling to the right customers. If you're wondering what that noise is, it's spring here in Sydney, and we've got birds going bat crazy everywhere. So it's not a glitch in the recording. It's actually a bird sitting on my windowsill screaming at me. So then we went down to... this was actually cool. We had Erin Haskell came on the show, and then she was talking about how to become an industry expert. Their website is heatinghelp.com, and they've got the largest, it's the largest heating related website on the planet, resource basically. It's a forum, and it's just crazy. Go check it out, heatinghelp.com. If you missed that podcast, they are basically the world's leading authority on heating, which may sound a little bit strange, but if you go check out the stuff they're doing, it is phenomenal. Erin did 3 episodes with us. She did finding a niche, creating engaging content, and then attracting an audience. Erin is actually the daughter of Dan Holohan, and Dan basically started that business, but Erin's taken it over and pretty much taken that business and turned it into an online platform, or the online engine that it is today. And it is an amazing vehicle. Then we headed into Tradies National Health Month. I'm sorry. That was cool. We broke down a whole lot of different episodes there. We got people from sort of across the board that were speaking about various things. We spoke about the initiative, the Tradies National Health Month initiative with Chris Massers and David Hall. We did an episode there on being fit for work. We did an episode on safety on the job. We did an episode on general health and wellness and what that actually means. That was a really cool... and actually we had Amanda Osborne on the show as well. She was talking about injury prevention and how you can use Pilates style, I wouldn't say training, but I suppose techniques that can actually benefit you and prolong your work life. So that was really cool. In between that, we also had an episode called Authority Content. Dave from Melbourne SEO Services, Dave Jennings, he actually launched a book called Authority Content, which I have right here. If you haven't read that, go get it. It's wicked. Sorry, that was for the video. Obviously, you can't see that through the podcast, but Authority Content's the book, and it's really good. We then went and did a series with Eve John on following up, and that was really cool. She was speaking about what following up or what not following up is costing you, and this is something that rang home pretty strong with me because I know definitely there's holes in my follow-up process, and I know for sure so many of our clients are in that situation where they're so busy out there quoting jobs, they just never follow them up. So that was a really cool series. Then we had Greg Hamland from Trades Coaching. He came on and spoke about how to stop competing on price in a series. And firstly, we were talking about how to stand out from your competition. Then we're talking about how to qualify your prospects. Then we talked more about, in the following episode, the final episode, getting paid for bids, quotes, and proposals. So that was actually a question that came through from one of our listeners, and he was talking about how he can start charging for that quoting process and bids and tenders and things like that. And so, that was a really interesting series. We then did a series with Nils Vesk from Innovation Blueprint, and that was on innovating your business. And Nils, in the first episode, we were talking about using innovation to grow your business in the first episode. In the second episode, we were talking about creating innovative business models and processes. And then in the final episode, we were talking about creating an innovative customer experience. And it's really interesting, actually, that podcast. I think sometimes we get so caught up in doing what we've always done, we forget to be creative and we forget to innovate. So that was a really interesting series. I actually have taken a lot out of that and implemented. And I've been collaborating with Mills quite closely as well with certain things that I've got going on in our business, just in order to make sure that we're doing things a little bit differently looking forward. So I encourage you to listen to that. That was episode 88 through to 90. I then reposted a podcast that I was a guest on from The Art of Construction. That was with Devon, Tilly, and Kevin out of the United States. Their podcast, The Art of Construction, is quite similar actually to the Site Shed. And we recorded a hilarious podcast on their show, and I just had to repost it. Definitely head across and check their podcast out. It's wicked, The Art of Construction. We then jumped into a series with Plumbing Profits, and this was on flat rate pricing. This one actually came as a request from a handful of you guys out there. You wanted to know more about flat rate. So yeah, that whole episode was with Steve from Plumbing Profits. They've got a flat rate product themselves, customized for plumbers. But it's pretty cool. We talked about some of the myths there that are tied in with flat rate pricing, and there are some. You always hear the bad stories, I suppose, but there are a lot of good stories as well. We talked about the pros and cons. We talked about whether or not your business actually suits flat rate. So that's some pretty cool practical takeaways there. Then we spoke about, what have we got here? Oh, this was the second series that I recorded with Greg Hamlin, and this one is about how to find good contractors and how to build a solid team. In the first episode, we spoke about identifying and creating roles in your organization. In the second episode, we spoke about how to find the right staff members for your business, how to recruit. And then in the last episode, we talk about how to retain your staff. Now, this got a lot of attention online, actually. Our Instagram kind of went a bit bonkers with that one. So a lot of people really, really enjoyed that series. So go check it out. And then this brings us up to episode 99. So we had another From A to B with Todd Redding, and Todd basically runs an architecture incubator business out of the United States. Really interesting. That one came as a referral through Devon Tilly from The Art of Construction. So go back and check that out. And then here we are, episode 100. So that's a bit of a wrap-up of the episodes. I suppose I just want to talk about now, like, the direction that the Site Shed is going to be heading in, looking forward for the next 100 episodes and, 2017. We actually cut the amount of podcasts that we were doing from 3 a week down to 2 a week because the workload is just crazy. And the business Tradie Web Guys, which actually funds the Site Shed, that was it's been going so busy. We just haven't had the time, basically. So we've cut back on the volume, and we'll be doing 2 a week looking forward. So sorry about that if that's disappointing, but I'm sure you'll find the content will be hopefully better because we've got a bit more time to apply to them. There's a membership platform coming. It's actually built. We're just working now on strategy around content, how we can keep regular training material, things like webinars, tutorials, actionable takeaways, case studies, all this kind of stuff. We want to implement that into the membership style platform. So that'll be coming. And that's been requested by quite a lot of people, actually. So it is there. We just haven't yet had the time to kick it off. But once it does, it's going to be an absolute game changer for the industry. For our Learn and Travel programs, we're going to be ramping them up in 2017. So for those of you that aren't familiar with that, it's basically an initiative that I've developed because I want you guys to be able to, as business owners, it's sometimes hard to justify taking time out within your business. So we put together these Learn and Travel programs. Basically, we did the first one in August this year over in Wanaka in New Zealand, and we basically took, 9 guys from all over Australia over to Wanaka, and we skied in the morning, and then we did a business workshop in the afternoon, and then in the evenings we went down to the bar and had dinner, and it was so much fun. Like, everyone just loved it. It's such a great way. It's complete tax deduction as well. So then it's a way you can travel and basically you can learn stuff for your business, and then it's completely deductible. So it was pretty cool. Looking forward, we're going to be running a lot more of those. We're going to be doing one in Japan. So we're going to be doing another Learn and Ski in Japan, either early Feb or late January. That's going to be awesome. That's details to come on that. Also, for all you surfers out there, we're going to be doing a surfing one. So this has come as a request from a lot of people, especially through the site meetings that we send out every week. I did a bit of research on this, and I asked you guys where you wanted to go. The number one place that most people wanted to go was Mentawais. So it looks like we're going to be taking a boat to the Mentawais in either June or July when the swell is on. And we are going to do the same thing, surf in the morning, business workshop in the afternoon, and sit back and do a bit of fishing and have a few beers. So that will be an absolute, that's on a lot of people's bucket list, doing the whole boat trip. So we're going to make that a reality, which will be awesome. We're also going to kick off an accountability program. This is going to be kind of like a mastermind style approach, basically a way that we can keep you guys accountable on certain steps throughout your business. So the platform's actually built for that. We're just trialing it with a couple of people right now, but that'll be really cool. If you want more information about that, just send us an email to inquiries@thesiteshed.com. But we'll put some material out anyway when that does. Obviously, we're only going to take a handful of people into that group because we want to make sure that it's very tight and everyone does. We can keep on top of everything and keep everyone accountable for their goals. Yep. So we'll only be accepting a handful of people into that program, and we'll be accepting a certain type of business into that program as well. So there may be a qualification process that comes along with it. There's going to be a load more podcasts, obviously. It's basically the fruit of our labor. There's a lot more collaboration coming as well. So we're really starting to ramp up our collaboration with other organizations, basically companies that can add value to you guys. So look forward to a lot more of that. We've been really good at it already. If you check out thesiteshed.com/resources, you'll see an amazing collection of material there that you guys can go and get hold of. And we're just going to keep cranking that sort of stuff out. I'll be doing a lot of guest podcasting on other shows. So we're really starting to grow the brand now. Also some keynote presentations, both locally and abroad. So there's a lot of conferences around the world that speak specifically to trades. And we'll be over there flying the flag in a lot of those. But look, if there's anything in particular you guys want to hear, by all means, let us know. We do get people email in asking us for certain topics to be covered and whatnot, and we typically do them. So if there's anything specifically you do want to hear about, by all means, just holler and we'll get on top of it. Well, we'll try to get on top of it. Obviously, we can't do everything that everyone sends in because people send us a lot of stuff. But look, if it's something that we think there's good value in, then we will do it. Flat rate pricing was an example of that. We had, so many people asking us about that. So we jumped in and built that series out for you guys. So I suppose in closing, I just want to say a big thanks both to the listeners, you guys out there. I'm stoked that you guys are loving it. Thanks so much for all the reviews. We really appreciate that. If you haven't left us a review, please head across to iTunes and do that. I cannot tell you how much it helps. Also, a big thanks to our guests. We've had dozens of guests on the show and they've all just been amazing. You guys are just awesome. So thanks so much for contributing on that front. Yep. And looking forward, the next 100 is going to be a blast. 2017. You know what? I just hope you guys are out there kicking as many goals as you can. And if there's anything that we can help you with, then by all means, let us know. And as I said before, we'll get on top of it. So that's all from me. Thank you all, everyone. And thanks for making episode 100 possible. Thank you for listening to another episode of Toolbox Talks. If you're liking what you hear, then you can head across to thesiteshed.com where you can join our community by signing up to our Toolbox Talks. You'll get sent a weekly notification, which is basically a highlight of everything that we've spoken about during that week, along with any other industry news that may be relevant or specific to the trades. If you're enjoying the show, you can head across to iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, where you can leave us a review. That would be fantastic, and all the reviews get read out in the show. Likewise, if you have any friends or colleagues that you think would benefit from the show and the episodes that we create, then please go ahead and share it with them.